Welcome back to Djji Tutorials. Let's dive into Trigonometry Part 2, Chapter 2 Special Angles. There are three families of angles that are special, and we don't need a calculator to find three trigonometric ratios. The first family of values in trigonometry refers to the set of special angles that have known trigonometric function values, specifically 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees, or their radian equivalents. These angles are important because their sine, cosine, and tangent values are easily memorizable and can be used as building blocks for calculating trigonometric functions of other angles. Here's a breakdown: 0 degrees and 90 degrees. These angles are fundamental and have straightforward trigonometric values. For example, sine of 0 degrees is 0, cosine of 0 degrees is 1, sine of 90 degrees is 1, and cosine of 90 degrees is 0. 30 degrees and 60 degrees. These angles are associated with the 30-60-90 right triangle, which allows us to derive the trigonometric ratios for these angles. For example, sine of 30 degrees is 1/2, cosine of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 2, and tangent of 30 degrees is 1 over square root of 3. 45 degrees. This angle is associated with the 45-45-90 right triangle, and its sine and cosine values are equal. For example, sine of 45 degrees is cosine of 45 degrees, which is 1 over square root of 2. Understanding the first family of values is crucial for solving trigonometric problems and for a deeper understanding of the unit circle and trigonometric functions. The second family of values in trigonometry refers to angles whose trigonometric functions, sine, cosine, tangent, etc., are equal or have the same sign as those of their corresponding angles in the first quadrant, 0 degrees to 90 degrees or 0 to pi over 2 radians. These angles, often described as reference angles, are found by considering the relationships between angles and their trigonometric functions across different quadrants on the unit circle. Understanding the second family. Reference angle. The reference angle is the acute angle, less than 90 degrees, formed between the terminal side of a given angle and the x-axis. Quadrant considerations. The sign of trigonometric functions depends on the quadrant in which the angle's terminal side lies. Second family angles. The second family of angles includes those that have the same trigonometric function value, or the same sign, as their reference angle in the first quadrant. Examples and key relationships. If you have an angle in the second quadrant which is between 90 degrees and 180 degrees, its reference angle will be the angle between 180 degrees and the given angle. For example, if theta is 150 degrees, the reference angle is 30 degrees, since 180 minus 150 equals 30. For angles in the third quadrant, which are between 180 degrees and 270 degrees, the reference angle is the angle between the given angle and 180 degrees. Angles in the fourth quadrant, between 270 degrees and 360 degrees, have reference angles between the given angle and 360 degrees. Now the signs of sine, cosine, and tangent and their reciprocals vary by quadrant. In the first quadrant, all functions are positive. In the second quadrant, sine is positive while cosine and tangent are negative. In the third quadrant, tangent is positive but sine and cosine are negative. And in the fourth quadrant, cosine is positive while sine and tangent are negative. How to find angles in the second family. First, identify the reference angle. Determine the acute angle formed by the terminal side of the given angle and the x-axis. Next, consider the quadrant. Determine the quadrant where the given angle lies. Then, apply the appropriate formula. For the second quadrant, the angle is 180 degrees minus the reference angle, or pi minus the reference angle in radians. For the third quadrant, the angle is 180 degrees plus the reference angle, or pi plus the reference angle in radians. For the fourth quadrant, the angle is 360 degrees minus the reference angle, or 2 pi minus the reference angle in radians. Finally, determine the trigonometric function. Use the reference angle and the sign of the trigonometric function in the given quadrant to find the value of the function. The third family of values in trigonometry refers to the trigonometric values for angles within the third quadrant, which is between 180 degrees and 270 degrees of a unit circle. In this quadrant, the sine and cosine values are both negative, while the tangent is positive. Key points about the third quadrant include: Any angle greater than 180 degrees and less than 270 degrees falls within this quadrant. The sine of an angle in the third quadrant is negative. The cosine of an angle in the third quadrant is also negative. The tangent of an angle in the third quadrant is positive. You can find the trigonometric values for an angle in the third quadrant by using its reference angle, which is the acute angle formed between the terminal side of the angle and the x-axis. For example, the reference angle for 210 degrees would be 30 degrees. Consider the angle 210 degrees, which is 30 degrees past 180. Its reference angle is 30 degrees. Therefore, sine of 210 degrees equals negative sine of 30 degrees, which is negative 1/2. Cosine of 210 degrees equals negative cosine of 30 degrees, which is negative square root of 3/2. Tangent of 210 degrees equals tangent of 30 degrees, which is square root of 3/3. In essence, understanding the third family of values helps determine the signs of sine, cosine, and tangent for angles between 180 and 270 degrees, making it easier to solve trigonometric problems involving these angles. Thank you for joining us today. Please share with your fellow students and don't forget to like and subscribe.